ProMAX MediaHub. Professional video workflows, any location, any OS, any internet speed.
Buttons and features, etc. So I'm gonna focus today around two stories, which are just workflows of how this is being used right now. And then I'll give you some great resources afterwards to do some follow-up if you want to dig a little bit deeper. So before I start with those two stories, I'm going to play a couple videos. The first one will be our marketing guru, Matt Mister, who will introduce you to the MediaHub product. And then I'll play the second video, which is Peter talking a little bit about his story. So let's hand it off to Matt and we'll go from there.
MediaHub is a small desktop server that provides local SSD performance and goes in each of your creative team members' homes. Using a peer-to-peer network, your creative users can share massive media files and collaborate on projects just like you were in the same office. When a user makes a change to a project, those updates are automatically synced to all the other media hubs and shared storage in your network. This works exactly the same at home or the office on Mac or PC. And because you're working on local SSD storage, you don't need to worry about spotty internet connections. This gives your team the seamless collaboration you've always been used to.
I almost lost my dream editor job when I had to move across the country with my fiance, but I was able to keep it. Thanks to this guy. Let me tell you about it. ProMAX has recently introduced what they call the MediaHub, which is this guy. It's basically a small server that easily connects and syncs with another server in another location. So after working with this thing for a while, it has worked exactly as I had hoped. I've been easily able to send files to team members, and they have just as easily been able to export something, throw it in the normal folder, the structure they would, and it automatically come to me. No extra steps, just been really intuitive and has not interrupted our workflow at all. While my desk may have changed, it has allowed me to work remotely, just as if I was working in the studio. Now, if you'll excuse me, I can get back to editing.
Okay, so Peter hit on something that was so fundamental there at the end, and I hope you caught it. He said that he can get back to editing and work just like he was at the studio, just like he was at the office. And this is such a fundamental requirement for our customers, that working at home and working at the office is exactly the same workflow. And we accomplish this with a very simple methodology. So here's my ProMAX MediaHub. And all we're doing is I've got a whole bunch of SSD storage in here. And storage is cheap now, right? It's not like it was 15, 20 years ago. Storage is inexpensive. And because of that, all we do is replicate all of the project data, all of the raw files. We don't want to mess with proxies and relinking and all of this stuff. So we just replicate everything at both sides. So with Peter, they started out, their prompt was, we had just released this product. We literally had no users at this point. And Peter reached out like, hey, I need this. I'm moving out of state. I want to keep my job. So we loaned him one and said, hey, check it out. Give us some feedback and we'll go from there. And this is way back. This is like April. And so he got this, and, lo and behold, he tried it. They loved it. And with their company, DHD Films, they actually wound up deploying a few more of these because, like so many of us, like me, who is presenting at NAB from my home right now, I didn't think that was going to happen, but here we are. A lot of DHD Films editors and users are at home. So even though they've got their shared storage at the office, they needed a way to collaborate. And now they're doing that through multiple media hubs. And these are the environments we set up. And it's really, again, it's not a complex thing we're doing. We're just replicating storage and then syncing those updates. So if Peter in Kentucky updates his project, that syncs back to the server at their office in Dallas. That also syncs to Elliot's server in his house in Dallas. So Elliot can be at home, he'll sync, and Shahzad at their office, he'll get those updates. And it's no different than the workflow that they're used to, just all working in the same location. And it works really well. So that's one story. So that bridges us to the second story. The second story is a story about ProMAX. So as we started deploying these with one customer, two customers, 10 customers, 20 customers, et cetera, we realized, hey, like obviously there's a need for this, right? There's an inflection point of time, but we needed to, we're used to selling these big, enterprise class servers with hundreds of terabytes and all this stuff. And this is a small product. This is a $1,500 to $2,500 price range. Like, this is the price of like buying an HBA and a SAN license was 10 years ago. Our challenge is, how do we scale that? So we needed to create videos. Myself and one of our engineers, Brian, decided to record a bunch of content. We needed somebody to edit. So we grabbed Flow. So here is my desktop, hopefully. There you go. There's my desktop. Like, I am looking at this right now. It's kind of like an inception moment, but this is exactly where I'm at right now with my setup. And myself and our engineer, Brian, we would record on I've got a little Canon mirrorless camera there. We would both record 4K files. And Brian he's located in Nashville. I'm here in Southern California. And we hired DHD and Peter to be our editor. So all I would do, I'm going to tab over to my browser here. I would just go to my MediaHub. I've got a saved tab here, as all of our customers do. I log into my MediaHub. It auto mounts this project that we worked with DHD on, was sales videos. I'm going to go ahead and open that. And this is just files and folders. I don't have to think about downloading anything. I don't think about uploading anything. All I do is I record my 4K files. I drop them in one of these folders, and that immediately starts syncing back to Peter, because Peter has a MediaHub Pro. I've got a MediaHub, and Brian he's kind of lucky. He's special. He's one of our engineers, so he gets a full-on platform. But everything that happens on any of our systems gets synced back. So Peter, he's, of course, Mac, as most of our users are. This is what he sees. This is what Brian sees. I see the same thing. And as any of us make updates, all of those updates are synced to the others. So that's really about as simple as it gets. So that's the workflow that I wanted to share with you that we're doing. I told you I'd have some more resources here before we jump into Q&A. I would really recommend, if this is of interest to you, go to promax.com/NAB2020. We've set up, you can actually see these videos that Brian, Peter, and I did together. So if you want to see Peter's skills, you can check out his editing here. But we've got a series of videos that address the biggest questions that people ask, and there's no way we can hit all of this in 15 minutes, right? But how does MediaHub compare to Dropbox? How does it compare to cloud editing and VPN proxy workflows, PCOIP? And then we've got some design guides. So whether you're a ProMAX platform user, you've got a different brand of SAN or NAS, maybe a Nexus or a QNAP or an EditShare or something, or if you don't even have shared storage, these design guide videos will explain exactly what you need and exactly how that works in your environment. A couple questions that if you have any questions, feel free to filter those in. But one question's popping up. What kind of internet speed do you need for this? As with anything, what internet speed, that's always what's your scenario, right? There's always unique workflows and unique needs. So in general, having 100 megabit upload is a really good, most of our clients that are using this that have that 100 megabit upload performance have a really good experience. It also depends on the size of your project, but most projects that users are using are ranging kind of from the 300 gig to 1 terabyte. And if you've got that 100 megabit upload speed, then that's going to be, generally speaking, as new footage comes in, you drop it in there and it starts syncing. And usually by the time anybody's ready to work on it, it's replicated everywhere. That is what we have found. People asking about Dropbox, if you do want to dive into how this is different than those different workflows, again, go to promax.com/NAB2020 and you can find a lot of good content there. Some information on the cost of these. That's always of great ask from everybody. So in general, most of these wind up all in. You wind up between about $1,500 and $2,500 per user for a complete workflow, including all of the setup and all of that stuff. So that's a very realistic range. So if you've got a team of 4 users that need a remote workflow, you would be in a very realistic range of $6,000 to $10,000. So we are right at the end of time here. So again, if you have any questions, please go to NAB or promax.com/NAB 2020, dig deeper there. And if you have any questions, there's a form on that where you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to talk to you. All right. Thank you so much. I've appreciated everybody's time today and I hope to talk soon.